Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving right into a comprehensive explainer on the massive evolution of the Internet of Things, or IoT as we all know it. We're going to take a bit of a journey today, tracking how IoT transformed from a really simple theoretical concept way back in 1999 into this incredibly complex, multi-trillion-dollar industrial reality that literally defines how modern businesses operate today. We're going to be looking directly at the architectural standards, the specific protocols that make it all tick, and the predictions for 2026 that are absolutely going to shape the next wave of global connectivity.
But to really grasp where we are right now, we kind of have to look back at where this whole thing started. The phrase Internet of Things was actually coined back in 1999 by a guy named Kevin Ashton. He was the executive director of MIT's Auto ID labs at the time. He was giving this presentation to Procter & Gamble and laid out this foundational vision. You have to remember, back then, the internet was almost entirely dependent on humans for information, right? People typing, scanning, taking pictures. Ashton's vision was totally revolutionary. He asked, what if computers just gathered data about the physical world without our help? They could track, count, and analyze everything, drastically reducing waste and cost. It sounds completely standard to us now, but in 1999, that was basically science fiction.
Okay, let's dive into this, because that 1999 vision has turned into a staggering financial reality today. You might be wondering, why are companies pouring literally billions into IoT right now? Well, according to data from Siemens, the cost of unplanned plant downtime across the world's 500 biggest companies is almost $1.4 trillion annually. Trillion with a T. That's equivalent to about 11% of their total revenues. So this isn't just about cool gadgets or smart light bulbs anymore, folks. It's about keeping the engines of global industry running, because when machines break without warning, the financial bleeding is just immense. And IoT is essentially the plug for that leak.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Architecture and standardization. 2. IoT communication protocols. 3. Industrial impact. And 4. 2026 predictions. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Architecture and Standardization.
Look, when you have billions of devices coming online, you absolutely cannot just have a wild west of hardware. It would be chaos. The official ISO and IEC standard definition of the Internet of Things really brings Ashton's original vision into the modern engineering era. It defines IoT as an infrastructure of interconnected entities, people, systems, and information resources, which processes and reacts to information from both the physical and virtual worlds. Notice how broad, yet really specific that is. We aren't just talking about basic sensors glued to machines anymore. We're dealing with a multi-tiered distributed computing system that is incredibly data-driven and software-intensive. It requires strict, standardized layers to manage everything from digital twins all the way up to cloud computing. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're talking about. This multi-tiered distributed computing architecture is often referred to in the industry as the stack. At the very bottom, you've got millions of embedded systems and smart sensors. This is the edge, and it's mostly operating on low power and low bandwidth. As the data moves up, it hits the field area network, where thousands of gateways and routers form what we call the fog. This provides distributed intelligence and local correlation. Finally, that data travels all the way up through the core network to the cloud and data centers, which is where the really heavy IoT analytics happen. Understanding this flow from edge to fog to cloud is absolutely crucial for grasping how modern IoT operates. But it brings up a huge critical question. How do these millions of tiny devices at the edge actually talk to the cloud without just instantly draining their batteries or crashing the whole network? Which brings us right to Section 2, IoT communication protocols. The protocol you choose here is a massive deal. It shapes your entire downstream architecture, everything from broker selection all the way to security. Two of the biggest players in the space are MQTT, which stands for Message Queuing Telemetry Transport, and CoAP, or the Constrained Application Protocol. Think of MQTT as your powerhouse default for most enterprise setups. It uses this publish-subscribe model that brilliantly decouples the devices producing the data from the analytics platforms actually consuming it. Plus, it's just amazing for battery-powered cellular workloads. On the flip side, you've CoAP. This is your absolute go-to for deeply constrained microcontrollers. We're talking tiny little devices with less than 64 kilobytes of RAM running on super tight mesh networks using standard UDP datagrams. It is incredibly lightweight. Now, to put that into perspective, this matrix from Agile Soft Labs is a fantastic quick reference guide to help engineering teams avoid some really costly architectural mistakes. So if you've got a battery-powered cellular sensor, you want MQTT for sure, because it actually offers up to 10 times better battery life compared to standard HTTP. Now, if you're working with a constrained MCU, a microcontroller unit, on a mesh network, CoAP fits that tight memory budget perfectly. What about simple gateways talking to cloud APIs? Well, good old HTTPS works best there just because of universal support. And if you're building a real-time dashboard for an operator, WebSockets are totally essential so you can push those updates live without constantly pulling the server. Match the right protocol to the right scenario, and your system is going to scale beautifully.
Okay, moving right along to Section 3, Industrial Impact. So, we know how the devices are built and how they talk to each other, but let's look at how real-world operations actually deploy and manage this heavy-duty software at scale. Because the crucial point here is that just slapping sensors onto a factory floor definitely doesn't make industrial IoT or IoT work. It actually requires 3 distinct layers of software infrastructure. First up, you need edge computing. This processes the data right there locally on the device, which cuts down latency and keeps things running even if the internet connection drops out. Second, you absolutely need containerized applications. Think of containers like digital shipping crates, packaging software using tools like Docker into portable, isolated units. And third, you need device management platforms like Pertainer. This gives your operations team centralized, top-down control over exactly what software is running on which device across your entire distributed fleet. And to actually implement all of this without causing a massive system failure, industry leaders follow a pretty strict checklist. Step 1, define a standard edge device baseline. You have to know exactly what operating system and network environment you're dealing with. Step 2, containerize all your workloads. This is what guarantees consistent deployments across the board. Step 3, group your devices logically, maybe by site or by specific function. And finally, Step 4, utilize controlled, staged update rollouts with remote rollback capabilities. You literally never update the whole fleet at once. You test a small group first. If something breaks, the management platform just rolls it back automatically. And you might be asking, is all this highly technical setup actually worth it? Absolutely. The business ROI here is massive. Research shows that implementing these predictive maintenance systems, where sensors detect abnormal heat or vibration way before a motor actually fails, can reduce overall maintenance costs by up to 25%. On top of that, it can cut unplanned downtime by 30%. You're fixing things before they even break. And that goes right back to solving that massive $1.4 trillion problem we talked about at the start of this explainer. And that brings us to our final section, 2026 Predictions and Challenges. Market conditions are shifting really rapidly right now, and honestly, what worked for IoT in the past is just no longer sufficient. ESI's 2026 Global Landscape Report highlights this growing fragmentation in cellular networks that IoT leaders really have to navigate. For example, the US and Asia-Pacific markets are aggressively accelerating toward 5G standalone networks, which unlocks incredible low latency. But Europe is largely sticking to 5G non-standalone, which still relies on older 4G core infrastructure. So what does that mean for us? Well, if you're deploying devices globally, you have to design multi-RAT devices. That's hardware equipped with multiple radio access technologies that can adapt on the fly to this two-speed world. Furthermore, fixed wireless access, or FWA, is really rising up as the killer app for enterprise connectivity, replacing those expensive old fixed lines. And as for the mobile network operators, they are facing a really decisive moment where they either need to bow out of the low-margin IoT space completely or partner up with specialist platforms to survive. Now, a major wildcard in all of this is the new SGP.32 standard for eSIMs. On paper, it promises greater autonomy, allowing enterprises to easily switch network operators remotely. Sounds great, right? But industry experts are warning that this can actually lead to what they call a DIY delusion. Managing multiple operator profiles, handling complex network configurations, and maintaining consistent service levels across millions of devices essentially forces an enterprise to become its own virtual network operator. And without a managed service provider to simplify all of that, companies risk trapping themselves in an absolute nightmare of technical debt. Which really leaves us with this final thought for today. The Internet of Things is just no longer about getting computers to simply count things, like Kevin Ashton originally envisioned back in 1999. Today, it's about navigating complex edge computing architectures, selecting the precise communication protocols, and surviving in a globally fragmented cellular landscape. As AI accelerates and these network standards keep shifting, the decisions you make today are absolutely going to dictate who thrives and who faces severe operational risk tomorrow. So I want you to take a hard look at your own infrastructure.
Is your IoT strategy built for the visions of 1999, or is it truly ready for the realities of 2026? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.